Okay, this might be a bit of a rabbit hole video, or it'll be very short. We want to talk about prevention, and we didn't really get to this too much with the gi choke stuff because it's, I guess, a little more complex. Like, if somebody really wants to set up a gi choke on you and they're good at it, they're probably going to be able to do it. Just partially because there's so many different ways that you can attack. The arm triangle prevention is fairly simple. It's basically like triangle choke prevention in the guard to a certain degree, which is don't stick an arm in. Like if you're a beginner and you don't want to get arm triangle, don't stick one arm in is what you would tell somebody when it comes to the guard. So with the arm triangle, don't make this shape. It's that simple. Like I would say one of the main ways people get caught in arm triangles as beginners is they start reaching for the head in situations like this, where someone's maybe partially past the guard and they're like, I know, I will grab his head. And then they end up giving up the arm triangle from there. So, you know, I'm not saying never, because I certainly have guillotined a hell of a lot of people from this. This is one of those, if you understand alignment, you will 100% understand how to do this, and it'll be like a light bulb. You'll know what was wrong the second you go, oh yeah, I internally rotated my shoulder, fuck. Or I broke his posture and I kept my structure, my shoulder was aligned properly. Like, I'm at zero risk of arm triangle here. Here I'm at massive risk of arm triangle. So as a beginner, this is one of the reasons you don't teach guillotines to like newish white belts, because they're just like, let me grab someone's head no matter what. Right? So just know that if you avoid making this shape, you're gonna be fine. Now, that's a pretty simple example. Let's start talking about leg locks, because this is where you'll see people, even fairly advanced people, get arm triangled all the damn time. If you come up on top of Smashy, they'll be here and they're like, I know what I should do. Let me reach over here and grab this guy's foot. Ah, fuck. And again, fairly advanced people with like years and years of grappling experience will do that shit. So just understand, from a prevention perspective, as long as I never make this shape where I'm reaching and my shoulder is near. And when I say like make this shape, let's rewind for a second. Right now I'm not making this shape, but while we hand fight a little bit, oh shit, I just made that shape. So like, I don't mean make this shape where I literally shoot my hand forward like I'm trying to be a amputee Superman. What I'm talking about is being as aware, put my elbow back in, as aware of the positioning of my elbow relative to his torso and relative to his hand, that I don't make this mistake, because I'm still making the shape where my elbow is now accessible as a lever and can create a ramp that he can slide into. So I need to be in any position where I'm at I want to be as much at a parallel angle as I get to a perpendicular angle. So if we're at 90 degrees, I need to be hyper aware of the angle of my elbow and of what my shoulder is doing structurally. So like if my shoulder, I don't know if again this is visible on camera, but my shoulder kind of collapsed here, right? Rather than having my shoulder open and strong. My shoulder collapsed, all of a sudden, this kind of thing is happening. Escaping the mount, let's say, you'll see people all the time, they're like, fuck, I gotta get out of the mount. And then this shape occurs for a second. All right? So if you don't want to be arm triangle, let's say he's on my back. He's got a seatbelt. Yeah, exactly. I'm starting to escape. I'm like, fuck, I need base here. God damn it. You're gonna get arm triangle. So again, as a beginner, you're going to reach out in situations where you didn't need to. As a more advanced person, you're going to reach out in situations where you've been put in a bit of a desperate state. So
another part where like you'll be doing the right structure at first, but can still get caught in it is on the far side when I'm attacking side control.
Yes.
And so this is where Rob's starting to talk about like the idea of regulated tension and making sure that your frame is actually connected and that you're able to apply varied pressure and be able to follow your opponent. So as Rob's here, if he has his frames here, but he just kind of chills and it's kind of a bit loose here and he's not really too active with it, if I'm able to just redirect this, I'm going to be able to smash and then be able to start moving to the side and need you to finish it. That's where I catch a lot of lower level people immediately, because they're fucking that up. I've never caught you with an arm triangle on that side, because as long as you got that as a proper frame, he's following me as I'm trying to hit him over and redirect it into a lever. I can't, because as soon as I'm trying to detach, he's either following me and keeping that pressure, or he's starting to get in supplementary frames to create redundancies to protect himself and push me further back. Where when somebody else does it, very low level, even if it's a proper frame with the elbow and the forearm, I can still end up detaching and redirecting that, and that's just a lack of awareness and sensitivity on the person on bottom. The other thing that just really sucks with arm triangles is that you might go through this module and be like, no one fucking arm triangles me. But as you saw from some of that control, like from Smashy, if I start getting into like a full claw position, whether like just even here, if that's all I can get because Rob's keeping very good structure, I have such a dominant angle and such good control already still in the inside space where I might not be able to roll his shoulder up into his neck. My ability to still control and be able to start looking at things like strong back takes and connecting like the reverse Ezekiel. You can defend the arm triangle, but you're still putting yourself in such a shitty position that's going to inevitably probably lead to having your back taken.
Yeah, it's a really good point actually, is that the same way that we discuss any submission as being a position that you should control, the arm triangle positionally is basically the claw ride.
Yeah.
So if you make this shape and somebody puts you in a claw ride, like, I'll be honest, I don't really attack a lot of arm triangles like against good people, but for the reasons that we're discussing, because good people don't really make that shape for you. But I get a crap ton of back takes from the claw ride because the degree of mistake that you're going to get from a good grappler is going to be much lower. And so they'll only get create this shape to, let's say, a 20% kind of level, whereas a beginner will do it to 80, 90, 100%. But just being hyper aware of that positioning of your elbow and of its status as a frame or a lever is going to prevent the claw ride, which is like, again, if I've got to defend an arm triangle, holy shit, did I fuck up a whole bunch.
Yeah. So like Rob said, there can be obviously the really big mistakes where we're going for actual attacks ourselves, where we're trying to start an offensive cycle and you're reaching for a guillotine and you're doing it in a really dumb fashion that breaks your structure. But it can absolutely, or attacking leg locks when you're reaching for something like an idiot, which is something that you will go through, and that's part of the learning process. Nothing wrong with that, but you want to start adjusting to it. But you can also be trying to do proper defensive framing movements, and if you're not aware of the sensitivity and the regulated tension, you can still get yourself into hot water.
Yeah, so like, as you get better at being aware of this, you'll be put in arm triangles an awful lot less. But some of what we're going to end up talking about, I think, throughout the module is going to be, hey, the follow-up attack here is going to be a reverse Ezekiel or a back take, so just be aware of it. So hopefully, even if you are not getting arm triangle, but the follow-up attacks are happening, you'll still be able to make some good use out of the material in this module.